few months ago, I met with a new endocrinologist in Los Angeles. This was the fourth doctor that I had seen in an attempt to understand what was happening in my body and mind. She entered the room, sat, and asked me what was going on. "Something is seriously wrong with me," I said in a panic. "I feel like I'm going crazy. One day I feel like the Incredible Hulk, like I can conquer the world, and next, like a damsel in distress. I have hot flashes. I sweat uncontrollably. With no warning and no instigation, I find myself drenched in tears and weeping and sobbing. Hell, a fucking Raid commercial can make me cry." The doctor began to smile, and with half a grin, she said, "Welcome to being a woman." It seemed like she was actually taking pleasure in seeing a man so broken. I understand the levity that she was bringing to the situation, but I was in no mood for comic relief or sarcasm. I was devastated, scared, and exhausted by it all. The Hulk began to emerge. "Do you think this is funny?" I replied with an obvious increase in volume and fire in my eyes. She instantly saw that I wasn't here to be cute and coy. I was here for answers. "No," she responded quickly, backstepping. "I just meant," and before she could continue, I cut her off and raised my voice another decibel. "I know what you meant. Where do we go from here?" You see, I finished chemotherapy roughly 2 years ago, and all signs pointed to a full recovery. I was the epitome of health, taking in everything green and everything good. I guzzled chlorella and spirulina, alkaline water, and cold-pressed juices. I drank tonics made with cayenne pepper and horseradish and squeezes of lemon, beets, carrot, and ginger. Exercise was my obsession, as I found it impossible to sit after my bedridden battle. And after a few months of steady training, found myself swimming upwards of 2 miles a day and walking nearly 20. From the outside, I appeared to be an anomaly, displaying zero signs of cancer or that I'd even survived it. A scar on my chest from my port, the only evidence that remained. My hair grew back, my muscles grew strong. But like lessons in life I've learned long ago, most things are not as they seem, and one must never judge a book by its cover. For on the inside, madness ensued, and emotions ran wild. And with each day that passed, I found that I'd not defeated a thing, nor won any more. My voice was still underway, and it felt like I was outnumbered on the battlefield, my back against the wall. The voices in my head that plagued the sleepless nights of treatment had found their way to my lips and were screaming with rage, and the tears that once dripped with nothing but sadness now poured without reason. I found no comedy in my doctor's comment, for I was no woman at all. I am a man. Or am I? For the cancer I had not only taken my muscles and my mane, it took my ability to have children, and the two things associated with masculinity, my balls. Things were very different now, as it seemed I was watching my life play out before me like cinema. It was as if I were a first-time actor being directed by a bipolar psychopath, and the film was being edited by the deaf, dumb, and blind. B-level horror at best. Weekly injections of testosterone was prescribed for life, which forced me to face my fears every Monday, as I hated the sight of needles and all they reminded me of. Each time I inject myself, I have to pump myself up and psych myself out. And there are times where my will is not enough, and I shy away, missing the week's dose, allowing for masochistic torture to become me, and vices to run my life. And while addictions subdue the afflictions, the burden of burdening weighs heavy. What devastated me the most was the innocent bystanders that fell victim to my moods, the hearts I had broken, the loved ones I'd left, the relationships I'd abandoned, the friend turned foe. The hell with burning bridges. It felt like I lit the world aflame. I explained to my doctor that my actions felt as if they were not my own and that the highs and lows were crippling. And finally, as tears filled my eyes, she began to see. Stereotypes of men are my woe, as strength is not seen in sobbing. And while alpha may indeed be the material in which I am made, beta is what I now wear as I walk in ash and live in smoke-filled rooms waiting for light. My doctor explained that this would indeed be a process and that the road would be long, but eventually I would find the balance that would allow me to live. So I tread softly now, with hands on walls as I navigate the dark, with hopes of finding my inner self, hoping for happiness, hoping for that spark. And I ask again, where do we go from here? Thank you.